Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. As the norm, I was working on my cards up until the last minute. I actually had two that were ready yesterday, but I had to come up with a third today. So, a little bit of chaos going here. Hey, Jason. Thanks for hopping on. So I'm going to show you a preview of what we're making today. I actually made them first. The only thing I didn't do was embellish them because I won't be sending these since they were just kind of me throwing them together to see what they would turn out like. So, hey, Anne, thanks for stopping in today. I really appreciate it. So I was just saying I'm going to show some samples of what we're going to make today. We're working with the Abigail Rose Suite. So we're going to make this card, and we're going to make this card, and we are going to make this card, which disregard if you can see the fingerprints, which you probably can. I had lotion on my hands when I put this together. So the final card will not have fingerprints on it. And as I mentioned, they're not embellished. So that's what we're going to work on today. I'm hoping that I have everything ready. If you could see my desk, hey Tammy, and my floor, you would be appalled. I just had to end up throwing things on my floor because my table was such a disaster. I couldn't find anything. I literally misplaced these three cards probably 5 times. Oh, that's okay, Tammy. No worries. No worries. So that is what we're going to make today. Let's see. Well, I guess I better keep them by me so I know what I'm doing. And hey, Heather. Oh, I'm so glad you could stop in before you had to go to your event. That means the world to me. Okay, Anne, I will tell you some things about this suite when we're working with it that you may want to consider. It is very, very pretty, but I do have an issue with the dies. So I can't remember what I was going to say before that. Oh, so I am actually going to stamp and heat emboss today on stream. I know. Everybody hold on to your pants. Oh, and emboss. So I'm going to use both of my Stampin' Cut emboss machines too. All right, so let's see here. Oh, and color. Did I say that already? I know, Tammy. Okay, so I think the first card we are going to make is going to be this one. And this one we're actually going to color on, and I think you will all be very proud of me. I remembered to use my adhesive sheets today, which was quite the surprise since it was mass chaos here until the last minute. Okay, so we have our crumb cake cardstock, typical A2 size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I have one piece of crumb cake left. I thought that I had 2 backup packs, and as it turns out, my backup packs were Sahara sand. So I'm going to have to place an order because I do use quite a bit of crumb cake. Okay, so the first thing I'll do is color the flower. And I am not going to color this in all the way because my preference is just to kind of add some shadows. So I don't know why I have these greens. I did not end up using I'll show you, here are the stamps. So I originally started out with these leaves with this flower. Okay, some of you might know that I am very particular about placement and how things go together. So I will tell you, I do not find that these leaves lay well with this stamp. So that, if you're like me, that's something that you might want to consider. These flowers are all connected, which is not a big deal. You could easily fussy cut them, and you could easily fussy cut both of these if you chose not to get the dies, or if you have a scan and cut, easy peasy. So I ended up using die cutting these little leaves right here to go, my little mat here is bubbling, to go with this stamp. Still not 100% convinced on the way they lay with the stamp, but we'll get there. So what I used, I don't need this either. So what I used was the light and dark petal pink for the flower. And I've never colored on stream before, so I'm hoping that you can see me color. Can you let me know if it's close enough? If you guys can see this okay? Good to hear your thoughts on the dies. There's more to come, Anne. Hey, Robin, welcome back. So nice to see you. I hope you had a wonderful time. Can everyone see this image okay? Is it close enough for you to see while I'm coloring? If not, I can move my camera. So I'll just get started. And if anybody responds that it's not close enough, then we'll adjust. I'm so glad to hear. Robin, are you going on the one next year along the New England coast? I heard that the wait list is already pretty big, and that's going to be absolutely beautiful. I'm sure you did. Okay, so I am going to start coloring, and what I generally, when I color, I like to do my shading first. And I learned to color with Copics years ago. So that's just kind of ingrained for me. I think it depends on how you color. I am heavy-handed. So for me to go in and do my shadows last, I usually end up diluting or pushing them too far. So this is the way I like to do it. I know some people like to put down a light coat first, a light of the lighter color, and then go in with their shadows and define from there. And I think that works really well for some colors. But for our blends, when there's colors that are super close together in hue, I guess is the right word. I don't think hue is the right word. Anyways, when they're fairly close together, sometimes they can end up looking like the same color. So I'm just going to go in and kind of do where the shadows would be, which is going to be where, and of course, scribbled right onto the tip of that petal, but that's okay, is going to be where any petal meets another petal. And for doing smaller spaces like this, I really like to use the fine tip. I love that our blends have a fine tip. So I'm just going to kind of go around and do that. Hopefully you can see okay. No super fancy anything or tips or anything like that. This is just where I do the shading. And I will pull this out with the lighter petal pink. And then when you see, if you can see this okay, you will see where we have some petals that kind of curl up. And the shadows for those are going to be on the upper edge because they are folding over onto the petal. Sorry if I get quiet. I don't want to scribble outside of lines too much. Fortunately, this is a fairly light color. Let's see, did I get all, nope, it's this guy. Bring this a little farther up. My arm's sticking to the mat here. It is, well, it's supposed to be 99 degrees here today. I have not looked outside or looked at the weather app to see exactly what the temperature is. But that's hot. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull out some of the darker color. Now, I'm going to be honest with you and let you know that, oops, I forgot a shadow. Whoops, wrong end. It's going to be a lot of whoopsies today. That I try to use, or I do use as much Stampin' Up as possible. But there are some Stampin' Up products that I'm not going to use today, and there are some reasons why. So I do not use Memento with, I forgot another shadow, with our blends. And the reason why is that it runs. Now, I have not had this problem with other alcohol markers, and that does not mean there is anything wrong with the blends at all. They are fabulous markers, very cost effective. We do need them in every color, hint, hint, Stampin' Up. And I use another ink that I can link if anyone is interested, and it is the Gina K Amalgam Black Ink. And it's because it doesn't run. I don't have to, another shadow, I don't have to wait for any, for it to dry. I can just go in and color and no issues. So I want to be upfront about that because that's what works for me. And if you are struggling, it might be something that works for you as well. There is nothing wrong with Memento Black ink. I just find that this ink works better for me. So, sorry, I'm very particular about coloring. Okay, so I am not going to fill it all in, as I said, and we are going to die cut this. Okay, and here's another thing to consider when you buy these dies. Okay, we get this huge die. Now, there is nothing that coordinates with this die. The one thing that does coordinate, let me see if I can figure out where I threw my pack of paper. Pray for a miracle, folks. The one thing that this does cut, hot dog, I just dumped it all out. Okay, let me show you. Now, I did a paper share, so I just have 6x6 pieces of paper, but I can still show you what this does. What it does is it cuts out this pattern. Hopefully you can, I'm not going to get it lined up right, but, oh, here we go. Okay. So what it does is cut this pattern. Now, first thought was, okay, we cut this out of a piece of paper, like a panel or something that goes on the front of your card. And then you cut these out and you can inlay the flowers. Well, the problem is that if you inlay them, they're all separated by this white space. Personally, not a fan. So you could cut them out and create some kind of bouquet. Again, lots of bits and bobs to glue down. So the other thing with this die is that obviously no coordinating stamp, but when you want to cut this flower, you have to use the entire die. And when you want to cut these 3 flowers, they go down here. You need to cut with the entire die. Yes, I mean, interesting. I would love if there was a stamp with this or stamps that went with the other stuff so it made sense just to cut once. So what you have to do is, what I've been doing is I've just been trying to put the die somewhat off of the paper, which is probably going to be hard with the way this lays. Yeah, it'll go off the edge, so I need to cut this down. So that is definitely something to consider, especially if you have a scan and cut or you don't mind fussy cutting. Yes, we did. Much better than expected, Robin. I don't want to, it's kind of her thing to tell, so I'll let her do that. But I might have to get my big machine for this. Okay, folks, we're just gonna butcher this piece of paper. Much better than expected, so good news. And I'm guessing she is probably not watching because she did have to have her eyes dilated. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to tape this down. So I just cut this down to where I could fit it on the plates. Sorry, I'm gonna have to get my head in here maybe because it's hard to see how to line these up. And I don't know why, but every time I'm trying to line up a die, my hands seem to want to like shake. Okay, hopefully this is good enough. I mean, that's all we can expect. I don't know if this is going to go through. Okay, it's going to go through. Hopefully it doesn't move around. This die is a tight squeeze in here. Yes, me too. I mean, it definitely, anything with your eyes is extremely scary because we really do rely on our vision. Okay, so here is our flower that cut kind of wonky, but you know what? That's okay. Handmade, right? All right, I'm just sweeping some scraps onto the floor to go with the rest of my mess. And I also want to mention that with these plates for the mini Stampin' Cut and Boss, I don't use them as intended. I use this plate number 4 instead of 2 clear plates because we're used to just lining our plates up evenly. And with the mini, you actually need to stagger your plates. So you'd have another clear plate staggered in order to get them to go through. And it doesn't always go through for me. So I will use this when I'm die cutting. And when I'm embossing, if it's not a small 3D folder, I will use another clear plate and try to stagger. So, all right, let me put these back in the machine. So we have that. And then I also have 2 little leaves that I cut from Pear Pizzazz. So another thing to note is that this one here with all the detail is an individual die, but the one that you can use as the background is from here. So something to consider. What is this? Why is this in here? I have no idea. I guess it must have got stuck to my paper. Okay, so, and then I'm also going to bring in a stamp from the Hello Beautiful stamp set, which I will show you if you're not familiar. I threw it over here on the floor. So I love this stamp set. It's very modern. So I'm just going to use this little scribble here on the card. And I've already got it mounted. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of this stuff on so I know where to put the scribble, because actually I'm going to use repositionable adhesive. So I can get it where I want it. So this embossing folder, what is this called? Gingham embossing folder. It kind of looks the same on both sides. So, I don't know. I don't really worry about which side I'm using. So that's just a little bit of tack there. And then I need my soft suede. And I'm going to let me get my mat here just in case. So I put this one, sorry if my head gets in here. I'm going to put this one right here. And I'll probably lower this down anyway. So I'm just going to stick that there. And then I am going to do the one up top. And what is this? Do I need, oh, this is a scrap piece of paper. So I'm going to just do this. Uh-oh, we have company. Hi, General. Say hi to everybody. Say hi. He's like, what? You see your big head. Okay, I need you to get down, okay? Okay. Okay, get down. Go lay down. Okay, let me grab my little chamois here. Yesterday, one of our cats got out, Felix. So General and Felix are brothers. I adopted them in February after our other cat had to be put down because he had cancer and he was really sick. But yesterday, Felix got out, and they don't know this neighborhood. Yeah, it was awful. But, you know, he came sauntering back up the drive in the afternoon and then act like nothing happened. And he traumatized his brother. Uncle Jason says hi, General. Yeah, they're very sweet cats. They just turned a year on July 7th. They are super fun. Okay, so we've got that there, and I think I'm just going to put some seal on top of this. I can find it. Hopefully this doesn't go too long. I thought it would be good to do more of the process on the stream for people who didn't just want to see something just pieced together. So we'll try that. If it gets boring or you prefer the other method, let me know. I am not somebody who gets offended. It is very hard to offend me. So if you're like, I just like to see you put the cards together, speak up. All right. And the reason that I put this white strip down is I wanted to use this ribbon, which is called this is one benefit to having all of your stuff thrown all over your table, if you can find it, is that it's right there. Woven ribbon is what it's called. But I put the white behind it because I felt like when I put it on the crumb cake on its own, it just kind of got lost. Yes, she will. Auntie Tammy is coming to town. I've never met Tammy and her husband, Jim, and they are coming to Oregon for a wedding. And so I get to meet them both, which I'm really excited about. And I know the kiddies are going to be excited too, because they always try to message Aunt Tammy and get on my computer. Okay, I think I'm going to put this down with some tear and tape. I don't know if I finished what I said, but I put the white behind it so it would show up more. Yes, I'm very excited. And then, Robin, are you going to On Stage? Anne, are you going? What about you? Oh, Heather, have you decided yet? Is there any way I can bribe you to come to Anaheim? Anybody? I get to see Tammy in Anaheim too, as well, and Jim. Heather's undecided, so I'm kind of trying to convince her to come to Anaheim. Since she's in Washington. I know some of you aren't that close. Oh, you're going to Indiana. Fun. Fun, fun. I hope you will all come to the next big one that they have in Utah. Utah is so beautiful, but boy, do people drive crazy there. I couldn't believe it the last time I was there. I thought people drove bad here. Okay, so we're going to put this hexagon on. Oh, and I do want to say that the inspiration from this card came from Jason. He did this really beautiful card. He used the mason jar, from Jar of Flowers, and the same stamp that I did for the flower. His card is different, but that's where my inspiration came from. So we are going to put this up on dimensionals. I have never been to Indiana. Well, there's a lot of places I haven't been. I've been to Anaheim. Haven't been there for years and years. We took our kids and their two friends before school started. I want to say before my daughter's sophomore year, junior year maybe, and she's going to be 21 next month, so it's been a while. All right, we are going to put this down. I'm not going to put one in the center just because it won't adhere to the ribbon very much or very well. And if you're still on, are you going to any of the on-stage locations? Okay, there we go. Oh, so very close to you. That's nice. Very close. Yeah, we're going to be flying. I mean, we could drive, but we're going to be flying. And I think my son's going to come with us too. He really likes to go to Disneyland. So, and my daughter's going to watch the kitties. That's the hard thing about traveling is I don't really have anyone here to watch the cats, and I mean, not like I want to leave them all the time, but I'm kind of, it's kind of like leaving your kids with, I mean, obviously I wouldn't just leave my kids with somebody random, but you want to leave them with somebody you trust. And I feel the same way about my cats. They can't speak for themselves. All right. So I did, if you weren't on it early or when it started, I did remember to use my adhesive sheets. Now the trick is going to be to get this sucker off of here. Okay. Here we go. Grab my tweezers real quick. Well, Heather, let me talk to your boss. You need to get time off work. Well, this ought to be interesting. Let's see if I can. All right, if these don't lay down perfectly, that's okay. Maybe I can kind of squiggle them around with the adhesive sheet on there. Figured glue was going to be too much of a pickle. Yeah, how far is it for you, Tammy? I know Patty said she's driving, right? I just don't know if I could do the drive. It's a long drive from here. And the flight's really short, so I can manage that. I can max about 3 hours on a plane before I need to jump out of my skin. All right, so we are going to put that about there. I do want to let you know, Tammy, I have not been putting my Tom in the glue holder, and it is not clogged. 6-hour drive. Yeah. Watch, it's going to be clogged. Okay. Why are you clogged when I said that, Tombo? What is going on? Rude. Oh, there we go. It looked, now it just blobs out. It was because there was some glue dried around the top because I hadn't put it away while I was putting together my, the sample cards. Oh, well, darn it, Heather. Monthly financials. Okay, and then we are going to pop this up on dimensionals as well, just because I have them out. Okay, and we're just going to put that there. And I will trim that ribbon, don't worry. I won't just leave it hanging off there all willy-nilly. Wow, we're already 30 minutes in. I've only done this, haven't even finished this card. Hot dog. Well, hopefully I don't keep you too long. Okay, and then the sentiment that we're going to use is going to be friends forever. And I put the stickers on these right before I started, and I didn't do it with my normal method like how I do with the stamping block. So they're all kind of like bendy, but hopefully they'll stick down when they're on the block. We use this, so I'm just gonna stick that in there, and that's not gonna be long enough. It'll be long enough if we'll do this and pray. We will do this and pray. I kind of like having the stickers on, but sometimes they don't always. Oh, this is not gonna fit now because it's too low. Let's see, what else we got? Feel better soon. I don't think this is gonna fit either. No. All right, maybe we'll do that one instead, which I don't have the sticker on. So let's hope I don't stamp it upside down. I need to clean my stamps because I was heat embossing and didn't close my jar like Heather always warns us to do. And I got embossing powder all over the stamp set. Okay, where did you go? Here you are. Okay, so we're going to stamp the sentiment in soft suede. Oh, thank you, Robin. Thank you so much. It was a whirlwind around here trying to get these done. This, I'll be honest, this suite was very hard for me to come up with things the cards to make. All right, let's pray this is straight and doesn't look bad. Okay. I can handle that. All right, and then for embellishments, I pulled a whole bunch. And I think I don't want white dots on there. I pulled these two. I really like these sequins. We're going to use the gold ones on, I don't know. Let's do butterflies. I think butterflies will be pretty. I use these on a lot of things. I like the butterflies a lot. But I have a backup pack in here that's like stuck to the other one. Okay, oh, there it is. All right, we'll do butterflies. Oh, you're so sweet, Robin. Thank you. It takes me a long time to create, but 99.9% of the time, I really enjoy the process. Let's see. I don't know if I want a third one. It's funny because odd numbers are generally the most appealing, but with these butterflies, for some reason, I'll do a third one. Sometimes two look better. Okay, let's trim our ribbon here. Sharpened my ribbon scissors. Another thing, we need these back Stampin' Up. Hint, hint, we need these ribbon scissors. I love these scissors. I should have bought backup pairs when they retired, but I was like, wow, they're just scissors. Okay, so there is card one. I hope you guys like it. Okay, so let's toss that aside. And let's see, we will do the little one next. Get these put away here. Thank you, Anne. I didn't see if you commented, Anne. Are you going to any of the onstage locations? Oops, this guy. And we'll just stick him over here. Okay, let me see. Where did I put? Here he is. Okay. Thanks, Tammy. All right, so. Oh boy, where did he go? Okay, I had this die cut that I put adhesive sheets on, and some of the adhesive came off of the die, so I stuck it to the front of the envelope. I kept the pieces in, and he has somehow disappeared. So I might have to cut another one, unless it turns up somewhere, or if it's right in front of my face and anybody sees it, it's a black die cut, a black flower. Okay, so for this one, we are going to emboss with the Painted Posies 3D embossing folder. This is a beautiful embossing folder. And I'm going to need to bring over my big machine because I don't know why I thought this was a smaller embossing folder. I think it's because there is the smaller set. Let me see if I can flip through my embossing folders. This one. I was thinking it was this one with the smaller ones. Not going Oh, yeah. Well, I cannot disagree with that, Anne. Money on more supplies. Yes. Well, hopefully you can come to the next one in Utah. Okay, well, we've got a random piece of pumpkin dye right there. Okay, let's see if we can get this monster in the screen here. And I need do not need these plates at the moment. So I need my number 4 plate. And we are only going to emboss. Is this the right size? This looks really small. Well, I mean, obviously it's small, but okay. So this is my new favorite size. You've probably seen me make these multiple times. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. How did I do this last time? This way. No, this way. Aren't you glad you joined me today? I can't figure out what I'm doing. I only want to put, there's how, okay, wow. Okay, and once again, I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I'm not going to fold the card. I don't want the embossing to go all the way to the top. And I also do not run the embossing folder all the way through, because sometimes the plates will leave an imprint on the rest of your card. So I'm just watching this go through. Watch me leave an imprint on my card. Let's see what that looks like. I have never been to Alaska, Robin, but I did look at a lot of the pictures and it looks gorgeous. Some pictures I saw kind of reminded me of Oregon. And I had never seen an iceberg in real life, so I bet those are pretty amazing. All right. Oh, this guy's heavy. Okay. So this is one of my new favorite card sizes. It is 3.5 by 10, scored at 5. So hopefully you guys can see that okay. It's a 3D folder. It's so pretty. And then we have our square, which is cut from the Stylish Shapes dies. And this is one of the designer series paper patterns from the Abigail Rose. I think I'm going to put this down with Tombow. And we might have to die cut that black flower. I'm sure I'm going to find it in some totally random place, possibly in something that is nowhere near my projects. Make sure that's straight before I press it down. Okay, so let me grab my adhesive sheets that I have probably thrown on the floor. Yep. And I'm going to grab a die from the die set here. I'm going to use this one if I can get it out. Oh, throwing stuff. Mendenhall Glacier. Yeah, they look so cool in pictures because you can see all the blue, which is really neat. They look super cool. So I am just going to sort of cut out I probably should have laid it the other way because that's maybe the easiest way to peel. But if you don't have these, they have, you'll see these lines and that's where part of it peels. So it makes it easier to remove. Let me grab some black cardstock here. I want to go on the Tracy Arm Ford excursion to see, ooh. Now, when you go on that excursion, is it on the ship or is it somewhere you drive to? I'm assuming it's on the ship because you said excursion. Let's see. Oh, wow. Very cool, Anne. And have you always lived in Alaska? I'm terrified I'm doing this wrong. I know it goes, okay. I did it wrong the first time. This paper's not going to fit through the baby machine, so cut some of that off. Bring this guy over. Very cool. I don't know if I said this, but I've never been on a cruise, so I'm not a huge fan of water I can't see the bottom of. And being on a ship in the middle of an ocean kind of scares me, but you know what? I kind of feel like sometimes if it scares you, you should do it. I mean, within reason. Like, I'm not going to go base jump or, you know, anything that would be super high risk, but let's go through. Did you not go through all the way? Come on, you can do it. See, this is where what happened last time, which is fine. I mean, it comes off the adhesive sheet and sticks on your fingers very nicely. But I managed to keep some of the adhesive sheet on the flower last time, but obviously that worked well because I lost it. Okay. And then we are going to put this right here. And I like that some of the bits stick into the die. So that doesn't bother me. And then I am going to stamp a sentiment. I'm going to use my Stamparatus. The food looked amazing, Robin. I mean, I wouldn't complain about being able just to have food and eat what I wanted when I wanted, because I do not prefer to cook. So that'd be my dream come true. Okay, so we are going to stamp. I did 2 strips in case it didn't work very well. And I am just going to put the magnet over here because the sentiment isn't going to go all the way to the end. And we are going to use the happy birthday stamp, the sentiment stamp. Stupid bendy stamp. Is this the right strip? I suppose I could adhere this with, I'm actually not going to use the magnet. I'm going to leave it on the thing because sometimes I find that, maybe open the adhesive. Sometimes I find that the magnet actually helps fill up the space by the hinges that tends to be more raised than the rest of the plate. So that kind of offsets it to where I don't have to press so hard. Oh, thanks, Robin. Look at this poor stamp. Oh, the sticker was not my friend today. All right. Don't know if that is, I really biffed this up with it. And you know, you keep trying to take the stickers off, rips off half the foam. So don't be crooked. This is why photopolymer sentiments are nice. Let me grab another scratch piece of paper because I have a feeling this is not straight. Pop. All right, so we're going to use Pear Pizzazz for this. Let's see what happens here. Goes a little bit down. You are not my friend. Stay on there. There. That looks good. Okay. It didn't stamp all the way. All right, I am not happy with that. It's too high up. Okay, you know what? We are going to not use that color. Whoops. I don't know if that strip is the right size. I think it might be. Oh, they're the same. Okay, well, I think I'm just going to stamp in black. Now, I guess I could have cut a little bit off, but you know what? I really struggle with trimming down strips of paper. I can never seem to get them lined up with the sentiment the way that I want to. And I don't know. I end up, usually I stamp then cut, but obviously I didn't this time. Please behave. Okay. We're just going to go with that. I think it looks okay. Pin off here. Or not. You'll have to be cleaned a little bit better afterwards. Okay, and then we are just going to pop this up on dimensionals as well, assuming I can find where I put them. Okay, I will actually use minis. Hopefully there's, those are all black dimensionals. I just had them be right in front of me. No, put them back. All right, and we're gonna use a foam strip. Yes, I originally, when I made this card, I was not going to use this die cut. I was using something different. And so my sentiment was stamped in a different color. It was actually stamped in early espresso. And, but I didn't like that with the black. I mean, it didn't look horrible, but you know, brown and black. Kind of like black and navy, if you're weird like I am. Okay. And that is just going to pop up right here. And then, oh, I think I put them there. I think I'm going to do, I don't know, those might get kind of lost actually. Oh, I think I was going to do gold. Yeah, I was going to do gold. That's what I was going to use. I agree. I agree. I would never want to be normal. Here we go with my fancy process. I always feel weird putting them like on the square, like they should be on, I feel like they should be on the card base, but oops. Probably just overthinking that. I'll put one down. Oh, I don't know if you guys heard Felix. He's making meowy noises. Oh, this is going to bother me. No, that one's going to peel off the paper, so maybe I'll do one here and maybe I'll move this one. Okay, we're just going to do that. So there is card 2. I don't know if I like those gold sequins now, but I'm not going to bore anybody with my issues. Okay, and the last card is going to have some heat embossing and possibly some twine. We'll see how I do with the twine. So we're using an A2 Smoky Slate card base. And then we are going to use a piece of the Abigail Rose Designer Series paper, which is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. And we have some vellum here that is not cut down, obviously. And then we are going to heat emboss, and this is not what we're going to heat emboss. And for some reason, I thought I had a piece of paper in here that we were going to heat emboss, but I do not. So let me find a piece of white. There we go. Now, the reason I have this black flower is because, as I was talking earlier about the ink I use for blends, when I want something heat embossed that's black, I use an ink that is not Stampin' Up. This is what happens when you use Versamark and black embossing powder. It really muddies the detail of the image. So I prefer to stamp in black ink and heat emboss in clear. Now, in order to do that, you need a pigment ink. So what I use is the VersaFine Onyx Black. And then I use clear embossing powder, which we also don't have. So again, Stampin' Up. And also, another nice thing is if you're somebody who likes to watercolor, it's really great to heat emboss your images. It helps keep the water in the lines of the stamp. However, using black embossing powder, again, on a detailed stamp like this, the watercolor, it just doesn't look as great as if you do the method I'm going to do. Don't tell anybody. I mean, this is only going to be on the internet, but all right. So I'm going to ink this up. And this is an incredible black ink. Now, you cannot use alcohol markers with this, so it will run like crazy. All right. I think we're good. I could have done this in my Stamparatus, but please stamp good. Yay! Okay, so then I'm going to grab my coffee filter and my clear embossing powder. I do have trays, but these are easy because they're recyclable, and if you need to toss them, you can just toss them. So it's always good to pour your embossing powder on with your cardstock flat. That gets the best coverage. And I just flick the back to, I probably don't need another coat of this, but it's kind of hard to tell sometimes with clear embossing powder if you've got even coverage. And then you just taco this. Now I will tell you, this doesn't guarantee that you're not going to make a mess, or, I mean, embossing powder, it gets everywhere regardless of the method you use, at least for me. But what I do when I use embossing powder to pick it up is I use one of these Swiffer duster things and just do this, and it picks everything up. So, and you don't have to, you know, replace the Swiffy part after one use. Okay, so we're going to heat emboss. Sorry if this gets loud for a moment. And after this is done, I will give you a little tip about heat embossing too with your heat tool. So I think I need to hold it up to the light here to make sure it's all shiny. So look at the difference. Now I know it's not the same flower, but it does have the same thinness of lines, the hand-drawn lines. And you can see how doing it this way kept all of the fine detail, but with a black embossing powder, and even if it's a fine detail embossing powder, it's still going to look like this. So that is why I use this method. Also, if you are using any other embossing powder, a colored embossing powder, a metallic embossing powder, you are going to get a smoother heat embossed finish if you do most of your heating from the back. When you do it from the front, it can tend to bubble or get kind of blotchy. So if you have the patience to do it from the back, that's going to get you a really smooth finish. And a lot of people recommend that you let your heat tool heat up for 30 seconds before you start heat embossing. I'm a rebel. I just do what I do. Okay, so we are going to cut this out with, there is an actual die for this. It's very own little die. And I think this will fit through here. I don't use this often enough, and I'm not very good at judging. Oh, hello. I'm not very good at judging size by just looking at something. So get this guy lined up. Find my piece of tape that has magically disappeared. But that's okay because I have tons of tape stuck to my big machine. I don't know why, but I have a hard time lining up our dies sometimes. I think it's because I am wanting to see the die touch the edges all the way around. And that's not how some of our dies work. They are intended to have a border. So, right. Heather is having surgery tomorrow. She has a work event this evening that she's going to, and then tomorrow is the big day. In case Heather's not on here. You're welcome. Okay, so I've got that. And you know what I haven't glued this down yet. Yay me. I was going to say I should have tied the twine on before I stuck this down. So let's go ahead and I'm trying to think. I don't know if I want twine on this. I think it might get lost because the image is so big and there isn't really a good place if I tied a bow for it to go. So I think we're going to pass on the twine. And this card is not going to have a sentiment. Yes, and apparently it's just an outpatient procedure, so she'll just go in, have it done, and then eventually be sent back home. Oh, great, Marcee. That was brilliant. Well, fortunately, it dries clear and shiny. So I am just going to take this. I can get it off with more of it off with my gum eraser once it's dry, but here's how we're going to do that. Okay. And then the vellum strip is going to go down, and vellum it's kind of hard to adhere without noticeable adhesive, but the nice thing is this flower image covers up a lot of the vellum, so you won't really see much. I'm just going to use my seal. And I'll trim that off when we're done. And then I think I'm just going to adhere this flat. And then we'll embellish it. It's a lot of glue. I think I'm going to need a little bit of this over here. Not on my finger. There are other ways that people adhere vellum. I have seen people use a sponge dauber and Tombow to lightly coat the vellum, which works good for a small piece, but I had tried to use the vellum that's in the new annual catalog that has the patterns on it, and I tried to adhere one that way to a card base, and yeah, it was a hot mess. It wouldn't lay flat. So that was a no-go for me. But you can't really see anything here. And then for embellishments, I was thinking maybe black dots. I think the pearls will get kind of, they might not get lost on there. I have those. I have the heart pearls. That might be too cutesy with that flower. Or I could do, no, those will definitely get lost. So I'll take these out and see what I think. Hey, Jim. Jimbo. All right, we're going to do black. I'm going to put these on before I trim down the vellum. I tried to use someone help me with this name. It is the vellum that has the patterns on it. There's a text pattern, there's a map pattern. I really wanted to use that with this card, but it competed too much with the stamp in the background paper, so I passed on that. I don't like that. I don't know if we're going to have to go, well, be a pill. Oh, now it'll stick to my finger, but not the card. Okay. I don't know if we're going to have to go 5. I don't know if I like these black dots. This is what goes on in my head. Unfortunately, I'm on camera. Okay, we're just going to do that. And then we will trim our vellum with our small scissors. I think so, Tammy. I pulled it out of my paper trays. Sorry for the loud noise. It's the set that has this pattern and like the text pattern, and there's white and black. I was going to use that on, not this piece, but it just seemed like it competed too much. So, and then I know we have the other vellum that comes in that bundle with the, I don't know, to me it looks like seaweed. That's not what it's called though. I think they're the 3x5 pieces maybe. I just know I'm gonna not cut this straight, folks. I am not the best with scissors. Okay, and there is card number 3, which is super duper simple and I feel like needs more dots. Another thing that you could use on here would be our enamel dots. I think, is this one? Oh, these are black. Should we try these? Should I take off the embellishment? The bundle of little pieces, yes. Lovely layers. Should I take off the embellishments and try this? Let's see. I'll do it. And let's see. Now, be my friend. Let's see if I mess it up. All right. Those are just going to have to be stuck back down later because they don't want to behave. Now, that one had the adhesive stick, but that's okay. I can get that off. Oh, thanks, Anne. I thought this could work good as like an anniversary card or something. Wedding card, maybe. All right, so let's squeeze a little bit. Now, honestly, this is more of a silver than a black, but we are just going to go with it anyway because why not? Maybe it, I'm like making a little Hershey's Kiss here. Maybe it dries black or looks, okay, sorry, he's just going to be a Hershey's Kiss. He does not want to behave. The white ones might look pretty too, but they're, I don't know if they would get lost on here. Maybe Stampin' Up will bless us with new colors. Okay, I'm going to try to make this one bigger because it's too much the same size as that other one. That's the hard things with these. I'm not, see, we're going to have a lot of fun here. I'm not very good with these. It's kind of easier if you try to make all the same size, but some people are really good at making different sizes. You can also use this. You can make your own little dots that you can adhere if you make little dots on your silicone sheet or possibly a piece of acetate, and then you can just peel them off and use them. So I don't know. I'm scared. I'm really scared to add more. Should I add? This could turn into a nightmare. All right, I'll add more. I see people use these all the time. Not ours, but like other, like Nuvo drops, and they put them everywhere and it looks great. And I'm like, wow, that would not happen to me. Okay, we'll put one down here and then we will call it a day, so that people don't have to sit here and watch me squeeze enamel out of a bottle. These are hard to get perfect circles. Oh, look, I made a face bomb. Haha. Okay. So that is card number 3, and the dots will obviously flatten out a little bit when they're dry. I kind of want to see what the white one looks like on here, but I'm not going to risk it. That might have been a better one to try first. Okay, so, and obviously those will take a while to dry. So here are, let me get some of this stuff out of the way here. Got quite the mess. The cleaning up afterwards, especially when you've got a table like mine behind you. It's a process. I need to take a break. Okay, so here are the 3 cards that we made today, not in the correct order, and I hope I don't stick my hand in the enamel dots. So all of the cards use the Abigail Rose Suite. Paper and stamps and dies. And then I pulled in a couple different things. I pulled in the, now I can't remember the name of the stamp set, which is probably the Hello Beautiful stamps, which were the little squiggle lines. And then I use this 3D Painted Posies embossing folder, which is not part of the suite, nor are any of the embellishments, or this ribbon, or this embossing folder. But I will have all of the details for these cards in the YouTube description later on today, and also on my blog. And next week, I don't know what I'm working with yet, but I'm going to try something I haven't used before. I had never played with the Abigail Rose suite, so I'm trying to pull things out of my stash that I haven't used yet and give them a go. Thank you, Robin. That's very kind of you. Thank you for sticking with me for over an hour today. And I hope you enjoyed making these cards with me. I always love when you join me. You guys are great, crafty friends, and I feel really honored that you come to my streams. And let's send out some prayers or good vibes to Patty for continued healing. And Heather, if you're still here, please give Lucy a hug from me. And I hope I will see you all next Wednesday. Thank you so much.